3, 2, 1. Welcome back, Georgie.
It's been a while.
It's been like almost 2 months, to be honest.
It has not been almost.
To be fair, we've exceeded expectations because at the beginning I said we were gonna do 2 episodes. We ended up doing like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
So this is the 9th or the 10th episode. I'm not 100% sure.
I have no idea, but to be fair, like there's a lot that happened. Like the Premier League got canceled for like 2 weeks because of the Queen stuff, and then
you got sick, I got sick, and then next thing you know, 2 months have passed
and then
before we've done an episode. But the people have been waiting.
They've been waiting.
Like
I've been getting
six people have been waiting.
I've been getting a lot of tweets asking if I'm worried or not. So
you're a full-on Liverpool pundit now.
Yeah,
I see you on Twitter now.
Full on.
Listen, if you guys are ever watching a Liverpool game, just follow Georgie on Twitter. If you can't get the stream or if you can't watch it, Georgie will give you basically the live play-by-play.
I will, and yeah.
Although I think he's very biased.
Listen, the referee's been absolutely terrible the past few weeks, and you can't even deny that.
Before we get into that, let's give the people some updates. First of all, the most important one is liquid football. So obviously, as you guys can see, I don't know if you guys can see from my shirt here, but we're getting some stuff done for liquid football. It's kind of been on the back burner. We still got a little bit of time, but that's the good thing about it is that we started this project kind of way in advance. Yeah. We got some jersey samples here. We got 2 samples now. So we did the first one, made like 8 or 9 changes. Second one, made 8 or 9 changes. And now we're getting the third one, but that's the only sneak peek. That's the only sneak peek that people get. All right, the color basically. And we're working with even different fabrics to see which fabric we want to use for the jersey. Got all sorts of stuff here. This is all through Champion Grind. Through Georgie's people.
A lot of material, a lot of different colors. Off the table.
What is this? Off the table. Yeah, so we're working through getting all the samples and trying to finalize some things before we get moving. The next step is finding a stadium and probably a practice facility as well, because we have to do that. And then the most important one really is finding a league. Yeah, that's the important one. We don't have a league to play in. We're going to end up playing in the Sunday league, George.
Listen, friendlies every weekend, whoever wants to play.
Listen, I think we go to the Sunday league and we smack up on teams. And then second year, we go pro. I
like it. The funding will be there.
The funding will be there. Hey, listen, there's a lot of money in Sunday league these days.
There's a lot of money in Sunday league.
So that's the plan. We're trying to get a lot of stuff, a lot of merchant stuff, so we can actually have something to wear behind the camera when we do videos and when we do announcements, things like that. And we're still trying to figure it all out. It's really, I'll be honest, it's really just me and Georgie. Yeah. Me and Georgie doing all this stuff. So yeah, it's going to be a unique experience, but that'll be fun. What else is new? Oh, big update. Georgie still has a girlfriend. Still has a girlfriend. How many months are you in now in your relationship?
Like what, 6 months, 7 months?
6 months, 7 months.
Oh.
It's impressive. I didn't think he'd get to this point.
Marriage soon,
Georgie's panicking a little bit. I can tell inside. He's waiting for the moment. He's waiting for it. It's coming. It's coming soon. He's waiting for that text message. Though.
Coming soon.
We need to talk text message.
Wait, is it here? No, it was somebody else. Okay.
What else? What else you been up to, Georgie? Besides being depressed?
Eating a lot of food, man. Finally enjoying it. Gaining weight. Moved up to a medium shirt.
Bulking up a little bit.
Moving to a medium shirt instead of a small.
He went from the youth small to the youth medium. Georgie did.
Moving on. Yeah, I mean, life is good, man. I can't complain. Besides Liverpool, yeah, life is good.
All right. Well, that brings us on to the podcast. As far as the podcast goes, the problem with the podcast is that it takes a lot of editing work because I have to go back in the editing and go back from camera to camera, and it takes me a few hours at least just to get each episode done, and then it takes me a while to upload it and render it and finalize it and stuff. So we're not sure if we should stick to the video just like we've been doing it, which has been good. Mm-hmm. It's been good. I like it. Or if we just try and simplify the process a little bit, where we just go audio only and just we could still upload to YouTube, just putting a graphic over it. Or like Georgie was saying, maybe we do the split screen so we don't have to switch from camera to camera. Or we just go, just audio and then just go Spotify and try and make a big name on the Spotify network.
Yeah. I mean, I think any of those is, a good choice. Obviously, we're still figuring this out as well. We're still in the process of doing all this, figuring it out.
And the benefit of trying to do something to simplify the process will make it so that we can upload more consistently. So like if we did audio only, for example, me and Georgie could upload 2 to 3 episodes a week if we wanted.
Yeah.
Because we could make it portable. We could bring the stuff and just record wherever. We wouldn't have to worry about setting up the video and the lighting and all that stuff. But obviously the benefit of having the video is that you get like to see our reactions and you actually get to see our faces, which I think is kind of cool too.
Yeah, and especially like the World Cup is approaching, so if we want to be more consistent, talking about like more games, like
games every day.
It's like it's nonstop. So like doing all this every single day is be a lot.
Maybe we do like for the World Cup. We'll see what. I mean, you guys can comment down below and let us know what you think. But I think even for the World Cup, we could probably just do audio stuff for the World Cup on top of the video stuff. So we can do more content.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're still like figuring this out, especially now with the World Cup. I mean, even now, like Premier League, Champions League, all these cups, like there's so many games. Like there's games today, tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then you have games the weekends. It's very hard to stay on top of it all, especially if we're gonna be doing like a video and you have to edit and figure all that out, and it's gonna take a long process. And the most important thing is when we do have when the weekend finishes and all the games are done, we want to be able to get this out as quickly as possible.
Yeah,
because
then it's old news.
Yeah, then it's old news. And then there's a game tomorrow, so now we got to preview that game, and it's
And then the other reason why we haven't done a podcast, if we're being completely honest, is because Liverpool's had a nightmare. Georgie does not want to put his face in front of the camera. Let's be honest.
That is not true. Liverpool won 2 out of the last 3 games.
If Liverpool would be winning games left and right now, and they'd be top 2, top 3, Georgie, we would have done a lot more podcast episodes.
Look, I'm on Twitter. I'm posting nonstop. I'm not hiding. I'm a true Liverpool fan. I'm sticking this out. This is not even bad. I'm not worried.
I've obviously been motivated because
I'm not worried. After yesterday's performance, you better be worried. After that draw, you better be worried.
Don't talk to me about performances this weekend, Georgie.
I'm not worried. You should be worried. I'm not
worried.
You're not worried.
Listen, that's the question that we're going to start off with. Actually, that's the question I wanted to start off with. Georgie, are you worried? Don't give me a BS answer. I don't want to hear this BS. I don't want. Look, don't give me the referees. I don't want to hear. I just want to know: are you worried? It's a simple yes or no.
No, I'm not worried. I'll tell you why I'm not worried. Are you ready? Why I'm not worried? One, it was clear as day after the first few games. The whole entire team, Liverpool, is not mentally, physically where they need to be. Whether it's the past 4 or 5 years of the same exact, pretty much the same squad. If you look at when was it, 2018 or 2019, Cup finals, Champions League finals, biggest games versus Manchester City and the biggest Premier League games. There's only 1 or 2 changes from those teams to this teams. So whether it's the fatigue, mentally just not being able to keep it up, which 4 or 5 years is a long time to be able to be on top of one of the best teams in the world. And physically, last season we played every single game possible. I don't think any other team in the world has done that. So to be able to play all those games last season,
you had an off season.
We had 3 weeks.
3 weeks is enough.
No, nobody else had dominated games. Liverpool played over 70 games, around 60.
All right, so that's one. Injuries,
fatigue. Injuries. Forget the injuries right now. I'm talking about like just mentally being tired and just not being able to keep up. And on top of that, the injuries of Liverpool this year. If you look at the injury list, it's we talked about this in the past few weeks. Like it's you can't even make this up. Like you have one guy comes back from an injury, and then you have another guy just sits out. Jota out for the season.
Yeah.
Diaz, probably Liverpool's best player since we signed him in January up until now, and he's out until after the World Cup. And then you had Nunes coming back from the red card suspension. Now he's getting back. He gets hurt for last game. Thiago, ear infection, out for a week or 2. Like one guy comes back, you have 2 guys dropping out.
There's something in the water over at Liverpool.
There's something going on. But despite all of that,
conspiracy going on.
Despite all of that, the 2 things I just listed, it's also the fact, and this falls back on Liverpool as a club and as a structure. It's worked this far where it only happened one time where Liverpool had a literal like crisis at the center back position, like a few years ago, where like 4 or 5 center backs just had to be out. So we had to play with like 6 choice center backs, and we made top 4 somehow. But we do not this is where we don't compete with the big teams. We do not bring in players to be able to cover in case there is a crisis.
You are a big team, though. The only other team you're competing with, really, in that respect, is Manchester City. That's the only other team.
No. We're a big team, but not big team in terms of like transfers and bringing players in. Manchester City, if you look the way Manchester City, Chelsea, Manchester United, whoever you want, you will know this because Arsenal was the same way. They would not spend for years, and that's why you guys were where you were. But if you do not keep things fresh and bring in players to evolve and kind of learn, maybe a younger guy and you keep him there for 2-3 years, it's going to catch up at some point. Liverpool, what they thought this season is, okay, we're going to bring in a striker. So 3 years ago or 4 years ago, we had the center back crisis. We brought in Konate. Matip was really good for the past 2 years. And then we have Joe Gomez, who came back from a big injury 2 years ago. So now we have like cover, 4 or 5 center backs. And again, Matip was out, Konate was out. So, and then you have Joe Gomez from right back coming into center back. So now you have some cover. So this year they thought, okay, we lost Mane. We're going to bring in Nunes. That's fine. And we still have Jota, we have Salah, we have Firmino. We have these players. Nunes, red card. Jota, out for the season. Diaz, out until after the World Cup. The only actual striker that Liverpool had last game was Mo Salah. Mm-hmm. Look at and he got hurt in the middle of the game.
I get that. I obviously the injury thing. You guys have been plagued with injuries more than probably any other team or any other big team, which is why it's had a huge effect on you guys. Because, I mean, you brought Arthur Melo as well as a replacement because you had no injuries, and then because you had a lot of injuries, and then next thing you know, that guy gets injured.
5 months. 5 months.
Yeah. And he was supposed to be a temporary replacement, really.
Yeah,
he was really supposed to be more of a temporary replacement. He wasn't your long-term midfielder. Yeah. But
that's what I mean. Like, you have to reinforce. Manchester City buys Jack Grealish.
Yeah, but you can only reinforce for so many before it's just injuries. You can't if you have that many strikers and then you only have one true striker. It's not like you can just buy another striker and reinforce. Something's wrong with the injuries, and it could be. I mean, a lot of these injuries are just happening during the game, so it's not like training or it's like. But you got to question something's going wrong over there.
Something's definitely off.
Which at the end of the day, still is the same question though. How does that not get you worried? Because this has been a problem that's been happening for a while now. So how are you not worried about it?
Well, I'm not worried because in the past 4 or 5 years, Liverpool have been one of the best teams, and it's clearly whatever's worked in the past 4 or 5 years. Why is it not working now? Is it because of those 4 or 5 years where now, like I said, they're like fatigued mentally and they're not like they're lost a step and they're just like tired of like keeping up with the pressure, whatever it is. So you start to get little hamstring injuries, muscle injuries, or is it just bad, again, reinforcement? Like if you're not going to be able to bring in new players.
Okay, so how long do you think this is going to last then? When do you think they pick up their form again? And they
we picked up our form 3 games ago. So we played really well against Manchester City.
Consistent. I'm talking about consistently over let's say the span of like 5 or 6 games.
I think the Manchester City game was the start of where I finally saw Liverpool, like all the players, the whole entire team, whoever played, was playing the Liverpool way. Like you saw like there was no like usually when I watch Liverpool in the past few like besides the last 2-3 games, it's like slow motion. They're like 2-3 steps behind. Like the ball is about to get played and the guy's literally just now getting like barely getting there and the ball's getting like they can't even keep up. Like they're just so far behind. Manchester City, it was really good to see. Like everybody was pressing, like it just worked out. The following game, everything was good until and again Thiago came off, a slight injury, the level dropped off. So like again, even last game, we could have had 5-6 goals. Van Dijk could have had a hat trick. It's not.
Either way, it's Nottingham Forest. It's a team that you have to beat. Everyone's gonna beat.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah,
that's got to worry you a little bit. That even though you had those opportunities, you still lost 1-0.
So this is what I tweeted after the game. If Liverpool have 3 games now, if we get 7 out of the 9 points leading up to the World Cup,
you're not gonna be worried.
We're gonna.
If you get 6 out of 9, are you going to be worried?
I'm going to be slightly concerned. No,
slightly concerned.
It just depends. Okay, am I worried about the Premier League or am I worried about top 4 or am I like? It just depends.
Premier League's gone. You can kiss that.
No. Premier League's not gone.
I'm going to tell you right now. There's no chance you're going to win the Premier League.
See,
there's no chance. There's less of a chance that you're going to win the Premier League than Leicester had at the beginning of that season. Winning the Premier League.
If Liverpool gets 7 out of 9 points going into the World Cup, I guarantee we make a push into the Premier League.
I think right now
We're
you need to be honest with yourself.
11 points.
You need to be honest because it's not like you're hoping for something to happen. You're hoping for a spark right now. It's not like, okay, we're getting this player back. We're getting our spark is coming back a little bit. Like we're getting back to our form. We're going to be okay. You don't know what's going to happen next game. That's the problem.
Well,
with Arsenal, I know like now, fortunately, which is crazy to say, I know what's going to happen next game. We're going to be the better team. With you guys, you're not sure what's going to happen. You could win the game 1-0 or you could lose the game 1-0. Who do you guys play next?
Is it Southampton at home?
I don't know. Which Arsenal just played.
Yeah. So we have Southampton at home. We have Southampton at home, Spurs away, and another team at home.
Okay.
So we have two home games and Spurs away.
You don't know what's going to happen.
No. That's the
problem. That's the problem.
7 out of 9 points.
With Liverpool before, Manchester City, Chelsea, with those 3 teams, you always knew what was going to happen. They either get 3 points or someone manages to keep them at bay and gets the 1 point or something crazy happens and then they lose all 3 points, which is very, very little odds that happens. With Liverpool right now, you have no idea what's going to happen. That's just the way that they've been playing.
Yeah.
And I hate to be this guy, George, because I keep telling you this, and I don't know, when are you going to accept the fact that Sadio Mane leaving was a huge blow?
Yeah. Oh, wait. Of course. Wait. First of all,
this is one of the reasons why you guys haven't been as effective, and it's not because of the attack. It's because of his defensive work rate to press.
Yes.
He was the guy.
Yeah.
That whole system. Let's be honest. That whole system.
No, don't say it.
The whole system.
Do not say it.
The whole system. And I'm not saying it was based around him. I'm just saying that whole system does not work without him. That's what I'm saying. There's multiple parts, yes, but that is the one guy that left. That as soon as he left, that whole system fell apart. You guys were not pressing the same. You were not getting the ball back the same way you do, which gives you all those attacking opportunities. So as much as, and it's not even about because he gives you a lot of goals too, but it's not even about the goals. Yeah. It's about the fact that without him, the system doesn't work.
But I've been for years. I've said I would take Mane over Salah.
Yeah,
because of that.
Yeah. I just want you to admit.
That's not. But
that him leaving has caused a major blow.
Well, of course, he was one of the best players in the world in the past few years.
But that's also one of the reasons why your form has been bad.
I don't think you putting Sadio Mane on this Liverpool team is gonna fix Liverpool's terrible defending on set pieces. On the goals we've been scoring. Did you see the goals we got scoring against Arsenal? We could not clear the box.
I think,
and that happens every game.
I think if Sadio Mane was on this team right now, we would not be having a conversation about you being worried. You guys would be third or fourth. I think
yes. Mane is one of the best players in the world, or he has been. Don't get me wrong, but I think Diaz has done an amazing. Oh, well, he's out now too, but like he's been really, really good scoring goals and defending because the guy doesn't stop.
Yeah, but he's not the same.
He's not the same as Mane, but he's covering the ground. Nunes, the past 2 games, really, really well defending as a forward.
Not the same.
I mean, they're not the same.
Nunez is a hard worker.
They're not the same. He's not. But there's triggers, obviously, that they have to learn over time.
What I'm saying, though, is that you couldn't replace him.
No, you can't.
You couldn't replace him regardless if you had Diaz or if you had Nunez. Neither of those 2 guys can do what Mane did. Well, they work hard, yes, but I'm just telling you, this is a reason why you haven't gotten this. There's some games, if we go back and look at all the games that they've played this season, there's at least 2 or 3 games where the result would have been different had you had Sadio Mane.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that, but I just think, Sadio Mane hasn't been that great at Bayern Munich. He was benched 2 games as well. So, it's not like he's... I just feel like...
there's an adjustment period.
I just feel like everybody's burnt out. And you've just come to this point.
That's a part of it.
Of course. It's going to take some time. And
that's one thing people don't want to admit either because they think that soccer players or footballers are just robots who can just do this. No, there's a burnout, right? They have to have a break. Typically, for like here in the United States, you get like 3 months. We used to get like 2 months with DCFC, right? Yeah. 2-3 months. So that's plenty of time.
Yeah, just
and
to
then
get away.
Lets you recharge, lets you kind of just completely forget, and then you have plenty of time to get back in for preseason. If you're saying 3 weeks, then that's not enough time for them to really...
Well, the reason it was 3 weeks is because you have the Premier League, you have all the cups, and then you have the Champions League, which is 3 weeks after the Premier League finishes. And then after that, they had Nations Cup. Yeah. Like all those, right. And then you have 3 weeks and you come back for preseason. It's like...
Yeah, Kevin De Bruyne was talking about that as well. He thought it was pointless. It was a pointless competition.
It makes no sense. But
I agree. I think that plays a part in it as well. I think Manchester City goes through the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Some of the top teams go through the same thing. I think Manchester City, though, is, and you can say it's money. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how they form their teams because it matters. It matters for the excuses that you can make. Right now, it matters for you because you can say, well, the reason why Manchester City's playing well is because they can buy whoever they want. It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, we're talking about who wins the Premier League, who wins all the domestic cups, who wins the Champions League, all that stuff.
But okay, think about this. If it didn't matter so much, how come Newcastle are so good now?
Eddie Howe. They haven't
the money spent.
Let's relax because if you look at they got Almiron. They got a guy. One of their best players is a guy who they got from the MLS. So don't talk about
Almiron, 20 million.
Don't talk about MLS. Or don't talk about Newcastle.
Yeah, but Newcastle, they spend so much money.
Newcastle's been a fantastic. They've been smart in the way that they've gone into the market.
I mean, Manchester City's smart too. It's not like they're just buying random players.
Manchester City doesn't have. Manchester City can buy someone for 100 mil. It could be a flop, and then they go get another guy for 100 mil. Well, Manchester City's on a different level.
Newcastle is I don't know exactly who they are, but like they have more money than Manchester City. So that's why Newcastle.
Now they do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But it's not like they've gone and bought.
They brought
Mbappe
Bruno
and Messi and
they
Neymar.
try to get Neymar. Bruno Guimaraes, 45 million. Like that's a good signing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They've been smart in their transfers.
But Chris Wood, 25 million. The guy doesn't see the field. Like to keep them up last season, they spent crazy amount of money on players that just to keep them up, and that's fine. But that's the reason why they're in the top half of the table now compared to the past few seasons where they're in the relegation battle because they're spending so much money.
But it's also been the fact that they've been smart.
Yeah, smart money.
And they brought in a good manager.
Yeah, I like Eddie Howe as well.
And they're building it slowly. They're not just like, okay, we got billions and billions of dollars. Let's just spend all our money. No, they've been smart about how they've been building the project.
Yeah.
If they didn't have billions of dollars, if it was just a new owner, you wouldn't be saying this because you just know the fact that they have billions and billions of dollars.
Well, the new owner wouldn't have spent 100+ million in like reinforcements to keep them one in the Premier League.
Arsenal have spent that much. Manchester City have spent that much. Chelsea spent that much.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Those are rich teams.
I'm just saying that at the end of the day, all that matters is who's at the top, and you're gonna get shit for the fact that you are out of the top 4 and you are not even close right now with the way you've been playing.
Listen.
So you can
look. This is what I'm gonna say.
Just say that you're worried, George.
I'm not worried.
Say that you're worried,
guys. I'm not worried at all.
Worried.
I know. I trust Jurgen Klopp. I know exactly what Liverpool's gonna come out of this. It's not. Okay, this is the problem in this world that we live in now. Everybody is like, oh, Klopp, he's not a good manager. He doesn't become a bad manager overnight. Something is off, and everybody can see it, and that's completely fine. Whether it's injuries, fatigue, whatever, we didn't spend enough. There's 100 different things we can say. It is what it is. In the end of the day, I know what Jurgen Klopp, how good of a manager he is, and what he can bring out of certain individuals. And it's just, I'm telling you, if we get 7 out of 9 points. Okay, let me ask you this. Last week, after we beat Manchester City, we were 7 points away from Manchester City. From the season, everybody has talked about.
That's a big difference this early when it comes to how you think of how close the competitions have been in the past.
It was 7 points. We had a game in hand.
Still,
imagine if Liverpool would have beaten Nottingham Forest. If obviously we lost, but if we would have beat them, we would be 7 points with a game in hand. And
but that's not even from the top team.
It's not from the second. But you guys
they were what, 4 points behind us at that point?
How many points is it now?
Now I think it's back to 2.
Yeah, so that's what I said earlier. 11 points from Arsenal. But
that's a big difference, though. Like Liverpool doesn't sound like it, but that's a big difference when you've only played 11, 12 games in the Premier League.
But that's the positive. You have so many more games to be played. And Liverpool last season, we were 14 points behind Manchester City.
Let me say something though. Nobody's talking about Jurgen Klopp. You're making this up.
No, I'm not. Go on Twitter.
Yes, Twitter. Listen, everyone on Twitter has an opinion.
Yeah.
I have not seen a single news article or a single trending on Twitter or a single pundit talk about Jurgen Klopp having to go. Not a single one.
Type in Klopp out on Twitter and you're going to see.
Yes, you're going to see a bunch of random kids who have no idea what they're talking about and they just want to talk crap. But it has not gone to the point where because you see when this happens at Chelsea or when this happens at Tottenham, for example, all those bigger clubs, and there's a lack of form. The first thing they're talking about is the coach, the manager, blah 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 blah. Liverpool, fortunately, the benefit of having Klopp is that they've seen what he's been able to do over the last 4 years, so they know he's not the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at the injury list and when you look at some of that stuff, you're like, okay, they're a bit unlucky this season with the injuries
and referees.
But not a single person is talking about. Listen, not a single person is talking about Jurgen Klopp having to go.
I mean, not
a single actual credible source is talking
that's true,
about Klopp.
But
we know that's not the problem.
Yeah,
we know that that's not the problem, which is weird because you rarely ever see people say all of the issues are really coming from the players.
Mm-hmm.
You've said like the performances haven't been great. When you lose Sadio Mane and you lose a couple guys to injuries and stuff, it changes the dynamic of the team. Nobody's blaming it on Klopp. Everyone's blaming it on the fact that the players are just they're not performing as good as they should be.
There's actually the only thing that people have talked about Jurgen Klopp in the Liverpool fan base, people, reporters, whatever, is the fact that Jurgen Klopp is stubborn in changing his tactics. So last season was the 4-3-3, and then he tried to play it throughout the season. I remember we had this conversation before the season started, how he's going to change with Nunes. But he tried to play the same exact way, similar style. It didn't work for the first few games. It did not, it was really bad. Then against Manchester City, he finally changed it up. He went to a 4-2-3-1, which I called on this podcast when we got Nunes. And you told me, by the way, you told me to Charleston. You compare Charleston and Bobby Firmino. Give respect to Bobby Firmino. Take that back right away.
I'll take that back.
Yeah. But Bobby, I said,
didn't compare him. I just said you were making Firmino seem like this,
the greatest in the world.
Yeah.
But I said in that podcast, I think Liverpool should do a 4-2-3-1 with Thiago Fabinho, Thiago Henderson, whoever in the 2, with Bobby as the 10. Finally, Jurgen Klopp put Bobby and Nunes as the 10 and as the 9, and it's worked out perfectly. He played it 15 minutes
Did you
against
just say
Everton.
it's worked out perfectly?
Yes. Okay.
Nunez is a flop. Let's be honest.
Oh,
don't even.
My. Are you? Oh my! That's
Listen,
it.
listen.
You've lost the plot. You guys,
hold on.
he has lost the
You
plot.
can check your foot mob. He is 17th, I think, somewhere around tied for 17th or 13th, somewhere around there in goals scored with like 2 or 3 goals this season.
He does not.
Tell
he's
me.
played. He hasn't.
Tell me.
Look at the minutes he's
matter.
played.
Doesn't
Don't look
matter.
at. Don't look at the
Doesn't matter.
games. Nobody.
Doesn't matter.
You should not look
Because
at the games.
how many games has he missed through injury?
2
2
and
games.
3 red cards.
All right,
and 3 because of red cards.
but that's just his problem because he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready.
I mean, he's not like he
wasn't ready.
can't score goals in the games he doesn't play.
Well, he should never freaking headbutted the guy or whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, we're what? How many games are we in?
I'm
into
just
the
saying.
season?
I'm just saying. If the guy got a red card, that's on him.
But
if he gets injured, that's fair.
Yeah,
That's
but
fair. It's like, okay, he got injured.
But you can't count the fact that and also
he scored 1 goal at home.
because he's played 3 games at home.
All right, listen. Maybe I went a little far.
Yeah,
it's early. It's early.
Okay,
He's not
I
a
can
flop.
pull up the stat.
He's not a flop, but
he's ranked 1 or 2.
But you're holding on. You're holding on as much as you can.
No.
To try and not admit the fact that he is not going to be as impactful as you thought he was going to be.
No. He's gonna be way more. I've said this on Twitter the past few weeks. Ever since he's
Would
back,
you take him or Mane?
they're completely different players.
No, would you take if you had one of the two?
They're completely
Because
different players.
that's who you replace Mane with.
No, what Mane
It
played
doesn't matter.
wide.
They can't be that much different because that's who you replace Mane with.
No. Mane played wide. That was his main position. He played wide, and when Bobby was hurt, he would come into the middle and take
Would
on
you
the
take
false
Mane
nine.
or Nunez?
No, that's not.
Would you
I'm
take
not.
Mane or
I'm not.
Nunez? Answer the question.
No, they're different
Answer the
players.
question.
Nunes is 100% a 9.
We'll take that as a Mane answer.
Nunes is a 9, a complete 9.
Would you take Firmino or Nunez?
They're completely different players. That's why I said they both need to play. They're completely
different players.
They are.
Isn't Bobby number 9?
Bobby's a 9, but he's a false 9. He's not. Come on. You know they're completely different.
Okay, they're different.
That's
they're
why.
different type of
That's why I said when we
players.
bought
Nunez
Nunes.
gives you something. Nunez gives you something that you didn't have previously.
Exactly, and that's why when Nunes has played, when in the 4-3-3, when in the beginning of the season, Nunes played wide. For some reason, I had no idea why, and I even said it on Twitter, and I said, "Why is Nunes our 9 playing wide? It makes 0 sense to me." Nunes is the one crossing the ball to Salah. It made no sense. So the tactics changed up, whatever it was. Bobby is the 10, Nunes is the 9. It's worked out in the Champions League. It worked out perfect. It's worked out in the Premier League the past 3 or 4 games. Nunes didn't play last game, by the way, so we didn't have any of our strikers. But it's worked out perfectly. And I've been so vocal about Bobby as the 10 and how he's going to be so pivotal in Liverpool this season. And I said this on this podcast, and he's been a top goal scorer.
He's not a 10.
He is a 10.
No, he's a false 9.
There's
a difference.
False 9 and
There's
a 10.
A difference.
He's not going to be able to play as the 9. He's not 100% a 9. If Nunes is there or Salah's there, they're going to be the guys going in behind. Bobby needs to play in the
I
role.
will say that Bobby has been probably your best player, in my opinion, as far as he's held everything together. Because we talked about this the other day, and I said Nunez and Salah are never going to pass each other the ball.
Yeah, that's true.
They're very selfish, and which can be an okay thing sometimes because, like right now, it's okay only for the fact that Bobby does all the passing for both of them. He does enough passing for both of them. But that's a huge problem that you're going to have to deal with, I think, at some point. And I think Nunez, as much as he's a hard worker and he wants to be a Liverpool legend eventually and all that stuff, I get it.
He will be, 100%.
He's not. There's better options out there. There's much better options out there right now.
You're looking at a guy that's going to be here for the next 5 to 8 years.
And listen, this is the part that I'm really excited about because listen, do you know who's tied for like second or third? I think third in goals scored in the Premier League.
No, I don't even know the
Look it up on your football right now.
no, who?
Guess.
Say it.
Much better player than Darwin Nunez.
Oh, Mitrovic?
Mitrovic.
No, my gosh.
Listen,
Please stop.
I
Don't
have
ever.
been supporting this man since the very beginning.
No,
I don't care if you don't like him because he's an ugly type of player.
No. First of all, you have not
Traditional number
been
9.
have not been supporting him from the very beginning.
Bro, we can go back to the very
Listen,
first
no.
episode.
The very beginning is 5 years ago. He was at Fulham, and they got relegated every single year. They came back up.
All right. But the beginning of this podcast,
Yeah, beginning of the podcast.
at the beginning of the season, I said I like this guy.
Yeah, I like
this
him
guy.
too.
And I think I even brought it up at some point in the podcast where I joked around or something about Mitrovic being better than
you
Nunez,
said-
and
yeah.
you looked at me like I was crazy.
He's not okay.
More effective.
He is not
He has
better.
been more effective for Fulham than Nunez has been for Liverpool. Admit that.
No,
Admit it.
No chance.
Admit it.
Okay, look.
We're gonna take that as an admission.
No, definitely do not admit. I like Mitrovic. I think he's a different type of player. He's a
Oh,
pit
now
bull.
you like Mitrovic.
Go back. I said I like him.
You never said you
I
liked
said
him. You
I like
joke around
Mitrovic.
about him. You thought he was like a Sunday league player.
No, I never said that.
I think I said that, but I said like he was a good.
Yeah, you said
legit
he's a
Sunday
good
league
Sunday
player.
league player.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I like Mitrovic. I really like him. I've liked him. I've always liked him. He was on my fantasy team for years because he's like so cheap. Man, you get your goals for him. The problem is, the difference is, Nunes is just a different class. It's not even comparable.
Unbelievable that you just said
Look
that.
at the stats.
Nunez, who's a striker,
Yes.
who's a guy that
Yes.
was brought on to score goals. He
Yes.
wasn't brought in because
Yeah.
he's defensively like
Yeah.
Sadio Mane.
Yep.
He's been brought on to score goals.
Yes.
Has scored 1 goal at home in 11 games.
Whoa. What? He has not scored.
He scored his first
He
first
scored the
goal for
first-
Liverpool at home this season. It's
Yes.
been 11 games, right?
No, not at home.
Well, not 11, but I'm saying it took him 11 games.
He didn't play most of these games.
What do you mean he didn't play?
He didn't play most of these games. He didn't play last game. He didn't play for the 3 games that he was suspended. The first few games, he came off the
Listen,
bench for 10 minutes.
All I'm saying is that
You're looking
you
at
have you have to face the facts at some point, George. He's
no.
not been as effective.
No.
Mitrovic is a better bet at this point.
No.
The man is consistent, and he's playing for Fulham.
Yes, he's playing for Fulham.
He's playing for Fulham. He's not
Yes.
playing for Liverpool.
Yes.
Think about it. Honestly, I really do, and I'm not even joking at this point.
Oh my- don't
I
say it.
really do think Mitrovic at Liverpool
Oh my
would
God.
be so much better right now for you guys.
I cannot believe you're labeling Nunes as a flop.
If
Have you watched
if
the-
you play a 4-4-2,
That
if you
would-
play a 4-4-2, and you put Bobby, and Mitrovic up top, and let Bobby do the false 9 thing.
I can't even get to
Unbelievable.
Liverpool stats because
I'm telling you.
I'm looking at this. You said 11 games. I can't believe you said.
I mean, it's been 11 total games. Yeah, not all of them are home games, but just the fact that he's had like the away games help in the fact that he builds the confidence and he gets the playing time with Liverpool so that he should be able to score at home.
Look,
It's not like you can only count the home games because all the games are
he's been involved in 7 games.
okay.
Involved.
Okay,
He started
7 games.
4 games.
It doesn't matter what he started.
Well, if he's on the bench, what do you want him to do? He comes up for the last 5 minutes against.
Why is he
Fulham.
on the bench? He's supposed to be.
No.
He's supposed to be
I said this on the podcast in the beginning. I said this in the
Jurgen
beginning.
Klopp likes to slowly bring
Yes.
him back. I don't care.
Did it with
I don't
Thiago.
care.
Did it with Fabinho. He
don't
does it
care.
with every single player that comes in.
I don't care.
He takes it. Okay, this is the Jurgen Klopp way. By the way, he has 3 goals and 1 assist and 4 starts. 7 games overall involved. The first,
Okay.
like the
So let's compare him to the more reasonable person to compare him to that we've been talking about this whole time.
yes,
Erling Haaland.
Erling Haaland.
I was right.
Yeah,
I was right. Don't even say I wasn't right because I was so right.
No, I never said you're not right.
I said he was a better player and he would be a bigger impact. He's been a much bigger impact with Manchester City than Darwin Nunez has been.
What did I say? In 3-4 years, we're gonna look back on this signing.
We don't need to wait 3-4
Yeah,
years.
we do, because Nunez. I told you. I said this in the beginning. I said this on the podcast that Klopp Nunez is not gonna have the instant impact that Haaland's gonna have. Haaland's gonna play right away because City don't have a 9. Like, that's just how it is. Liverpool, like, okay, I said that Klopp likes to take his time with new players. And that's literally what he's done with Nunez. I guarantee you, if Jota was healthy and Diaz was healthy, I guarantee Nunez would not be starting still. I 100% guarantee that.
But
because
still,
he
it
doesn't want to
matter.
play him. He only plays him 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, ease the pressure off, and then once he gets going, then he's going to play him mid. My prediction was late December, that's when Nunez is going to start playing like regular games. But because of the injuries, he's forced to play Nunez. And obviously he got a red card, so he hasn't played.
Either way, though, if you said, okay, let's start him every single game, he would still not be close to Erling Haaland.
I think he will be.
No, come on. Nobody's close to Erling Haaland.
If you look at the stats.
If you're telling me Harry Kane's not even close to Erling Haaland. All the top strikers in the Premier League are looking like it's a different class. It's a completely different class.
Yeah, Haaland's been absolutely amazing. But that's not like a hot take. That's not a hot take that you.
I'm not saying it's a hot take. All I'm saying
that's
is
like everybody.
George,
most people
George,
predicted
just admit
that
I was right.
No, you're right. I said you're right. But what I'm trying to tell you is you're making it seem like you made the prediction of the century by saying
I did.
Haaland is
I
going to
will
score
take
a lot
the
of goals.
I did say he would score. He would easily break the record. Didn't I say that?
You say he would. I don't even. Yeah,
I said that. I was like, I don't know if I said he would easily break the record, but I was like, I think he breaks it. I said I think he gets, because the last year was like 21 was the
last season
was not
21.
the record, but 21 was the one who won it, right?
Yeah, 21.
It was like Salah's
son. Yeah.
Okay, and I said I was like, he gets over 30 easily.
Yeah.
He gets over 30. We're 11 games into the Premier League, and he's got 17, 18 goals or something like that.
Yes,
Mental.
Somewhere around it.
Mental.
It's unreal. But again, I'm going back to the argument and what I told you. In 3-4 years' time, if you look at the stats of Nunez, up until before, as soon as he came back from the red card, everybody's saying Nunez is a flop. He's not good. Liverpool spending money for this. Oh my God, I can't believe they spent money. They could have got Haaland, but all this stuff. He came back. He played 3 or 4 games. He scored 3 or 4 goals, and everybody's like, "Wow, first in this, first in this." All the stats are pointing for him to be a success at Liverpool. I said this from the beginning. Watching him at Benfica, watching him against Liverpool, watching him in the Champions League. This guy is going to be an amazing player for Liverpool. He's going to be a legend. He's going to score a lot of goals. Nope. You know how much stick? I have 2,000 retweets on one of my Nunez tweets when the first game he came back from the red card. He miskicked the ball, and everybody lost it. And I tweeted about it, and everybody gave me shit about it. And now,
I think you're overhyping him.
No, and now you know what I did? I went back. I commented to every single person that told me he's not going to score, he's not going to do this, he's not going to score more than 5 goals this season, blah, blah, blah. I went back and I replied to every single comment.
Listen, I think you're making a big mistake when you're saying in three years to look back at this conversation.
Yeah.
Because I think this is not even going to be a conversation. I think you're gonna come back in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
All right, first of all, this is what's going to happen, all right? We're going to stop making this podcast at some point before those 3 years. And then we're going to have to come back a year or two later after we stop making this podcast to film that episode.
Yep.
Where I'm going to tell you, you're going to be like, yeah, he wasn't like, he was good at the beginning. And then I don't think he's not going to be a Liverpool legend.
I think he's going to be a Liverpool.
No. He's a good player. He's not the answer. He's a good player. He's a solid striker. I think he's been way overhyped because of what he did at Benfica. And to be fair, he wasn't playing against the best. He wasn't playing against the best teams week in, week out. So it's a little bit easier to pad your stats. He had a few good games in the Champions League. So everyone's like, oh, this guy. He's done well. He's not as good as everyone.
You say he was
makes
a flop.
I mean, I was exaggerating a little bit just to get you going. But listen, it's not.
Okay. Let me ask you this.
I don't think he's a flop. I don't think he's a flop, but I think he's been more average than he's been great.
Okay. Is because one, he hasn't played that much, and 2, he got the red card, so he's set up for 3 games, literally. So, let me ask you this. Gabriel Jesus at Arsenal, how amazing has he been?
Very good.
Who has more goals?
Very good. Gabriel Jesus got to have more goals than.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's all about how you look at it.
Look it up. I want to see. You're wrong.
I could be wrong.
You're so wrong. This guy's making up stuff on the podcast over here.
I just saw somebody talk about it. What do you look at this? FootMob?
Yeah, just go to FootMob and go to the Premier League and then go to the player stats.
Did Gabriel Jesus score against Southampton?
No. Xhaka scored.
Okay. Gabriel Jesus. So Nunes has 4. Jesus has 5.
Exactly. So
okay, you said Jesus is doing amazing.
You just lied on the podcast.
I didn't.
You just lied on the podcast.
I just looked it up.
You just lied.
This is prior.
If I didn't challenge you, you would have said that Darwin Nunez has more goals than Gabriel Jesus.
1 goal. It's not that big of a difference. But
here's
what I'm talking about is
Gabriel Jesus is not Erling Haaland level.
No,
that was the original comparison. Was Nunez versus Haaland?
But no, I'm just talking about he's okay.
Now you're comparing him to Gabriel Jesus.
No. The reason why I'm saying that is because everybody is talking about, oh my, Gabriel Jesus, what a difference.
He's been good.
I think he's been amazing for Arsenal. But everybody's like talking about the goals. It's not about the goals. Like if we're everyone's like, oh my God, Jesus, such an amazing season so far, and then Nunes flop, waste of money. 1 goal difference. Is that what we're really talking about?
Here's the difference. So everyone's not talking about Gabriel Jesus. Everyone's talking about the performances that Arsenal have been putting together.
Yeah, but
him being a big part of it.
He's like a huge part of it.
Yeah, him being a big part of it. But it's like it makes you a better player when your team is performing well and you are a big part of it. Darwin Nunez, Liverpool has not been performing well. He's gotten a couple goals to help him here and there, but
he's done.
It's not his impact. His impact has not been as good as Gabriel Jesus' impact at Arsenal.
Well, yeah,
because you can say that Gabriel Jesus has had a bigger impact at Arsenal than Darwin Nunez has had at Liverpool so far.
You can say that, but again, to your point, what you just said, it's very, very hard for a striker to do well when your team is being complete shit.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's what Liverpool are at. The whole it's not like Liverpool are playing amazing and Darwin's not scoring. You're looking at the whole Liverpool team that's not playing well.
I'm just saying there's also been some times where he should have scored goals.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
There's been times where like they've given him the opportunity and he hasn't scored goals. 100%. That could have been a big difference in how they've been getting results.
Darwin Nunes right now, he's sitting at whatever goals he's for the season. Would you say he breaks 15 goals this season?
I would say he's somewhere right around there. I would say like 14 to 16 goals would be where I think Darwin Nunez will end up. And that's not bad. I mean, that's solid. That's not the impact that you want him to have, that you thought he would have.
I think if he gets 15 goals this season, which I think he's going to get more, by the way. I think he's going to... You're looking at past 20 goals.
You'd be content with 15 goals.
I'll be okay with 15 goals. The way Liverpool's playing.
That's not what you wanted, though. You
don't
want to be okay. I don't. Somebody who was going to give you what Haaland is giving Manchester City. That was the whole point of bringing him in.
Yeah, but when the whole team is firing, when the team is complete shit, then you can't really do much, like as a striker.
We'll see. But I'm just saying you should be worried.
I'm not worried at all.
You can say you're not.
No.
You should be worried only because, like, I'm not saying you should be worried about Klopp. You shouldn't be worried about, like, Firmino, but you should be worried about the fact that, one, there's a huge injury crisis going on in Liverpool, which hasn't been fixed. I don't know what's going on. And I know some of them are just random injuries, but the fact that it's consistent, something's wrong. Yeah. And 2, the fact that they haven't been performing consistently. They have good games, they have bad games, but they haven't had a good spell yet where you're like, okay, we went through a bad spell, now we're okay.
Yeah, no,
they haven't been performing well.
I am worried about the injuries. That's the only thing I'm worried about. But I like, again, maybe it's because like obviously I've played, so now I know like it takes a lot mentally to keep on performing.
Yeah.
So like if you keep the same players and you play them and you run them, like Klopp has the same exact team, he's been loyal to these players. It's very, very hard for these guys to get back up, and injuries are gonna pile up, fatigue and all that. So it makes sense in my head of like, okay, I can see why this is happening. Everybody's questioning what's going on. It's just a matter of like, okay, that's just the way your body works, and mentally that's how everybody is, just because we haven't reinforced what we need to reinforce. And that comes with, if you want to blame the team or whoever, what doesn't really matter.
You should be worried.
I'm just worried about the injuries because these guys are missing World Cups now because of all this.
You should be very worried at this point.
I'm not, again, 7 out of 9 points, and Liverpool within 12 to 13 points of the first place team. That's literally nothing.
I'm saying we can revisit this in a few weeks, and we'll be looking at this, the next couple weeks as we watch the Premier League. But I'm thinking you're very, very close. You're very, very close to saying we just need to figure out how to get top 4. You shouldn't even be thinking about the Premier League right now because you're not performing in any way that shows that you're going to have a chance of winning the Premier League.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that.
Unless like in the next 3 games, like if you get 7 out of 9 or if you get 9 out of 9, then you're back into like, okay, hopefully we're going to be in top 4. Now let's start thinking about how we can start closing the gap in on Manchester City and Arsenal.
So this is my prediction for it. 7 to 9 points in the next 3 games. The World Cup comes, we get players back from injury. Hopefully Diaz is back right after. We have 2 games, I think, in like late December, and then January comes and we sign 1 midfield player. And then I'm completely content with that. Like
the problem with that though is that I think you guys are going to be worse after the World Cup. The few players that are healthy that you have, and a lot of your players are going to the World Cup. You're going to have 2 or 3 big injuries coming out of the World Cup.
I mean, if that happens, then obviously,
and that'll happen to every team.
Yeah,
for the most part, but. I don't think Liverpool, with the way that things are going right now, I don't think you're going to, after the World Cup, you're going to have your squad healthy.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's like whatever happens there, but
I think you guys just need to say, we're going top 4. We're going to try and get into the top 4, and we need to, because right now, the thing is as well, is Manchester City's playing well. Arsenal's playing very, very well. Manchester United is back.
Yeah.
So far. So you have 3 teams right there. And then you got Tottenham, Chelsea, Newcastle, which are in the top 4 right now, I believe. And now it's not just, we're just competing with Manchester City and, for example, Manchester City and Chelsea, and then the other 2 or 3 teams that are competing for top 4 are really far off. It's close.
Yeah.
So you're competing with like 2 or 3 other teams that you haven't been needing to compete with in the past. So that's why I'm thinking that even just to get top 4 is going to be a struggle.
Yeah. I mean, this is the way I'm looking at it. I'm taking it game by game now because it's like, whatever. But if you ask me, a Liverpool out of the Premier League like title, I'm saying no, they're not out of it. Like if that's the question you're asking me,
in 2 weeks you're going to be out of it.
If you say, are you thinking about the Premier League? No, I'm not thinking about the Premier League. But if you're asking me, is Liverpool out of contention to win the Premier League? I'm going to say no, they're not out of it.
So
yet.
5 out of 9 points in the next 3 games.
5 out of 9 is not good enough.
Will you say that you'll be out by then?
5 out of 9 and going into like the break, no, it's not good enough. Okay. You need.
We'll see what happens, but I think you should be worried. Anyway.
Not worried.
Well, moving on. Chelsea, your boy finally got the job.
Yeah.
Since the last podcast, I mean, you've been talking him up on the podcast.
Huge fan.
Crazy his I was looking through his like resume kind of thing. Somebody posted it on Instagram where he's been coaching college, like university in England.
Made his way up.
Was coaching it was like the technical director for the Ghana women's national team, something crazy like that. Went back into the university and then got a couple pro jobs, and now it's crazy, which is good because it's nice to hear, because it's managers like that just because they didn't, play at the highest levels, for example, or were coaching at the highest levels before, like those old school coaches who were just bouncing from job to job because of the name that they made for themselves 10 years ago. It's nice to see that he's gotten an opportunity. I think he's gotten himself into the worst team in the Premier League to do it, because he's one of those coaches that he is like a Klopp in the sense that you need to give him a really good program that's been struggling for a little bit and say, give me 3 or 4 years and I'm going to show you what I can do in 3 or 4 years.
He needs time.
And Chelsea's not going to give him that time. He did it with the Swedish team that he was with, where he got him promoted 3 times in 4 years, which is crazy. Got him to the top division, and then he ended up beating Arsenal. That was his biggest win as a manager. He ended up beating Arsenal in Europa League. But I think you can't turn down the job, because for him he was at a pivotal point where he's like, okay, we're doing really, really well. There's a chance that as the season goes on, we're going to go down, and then my opportunities to get that job. So now he's probably thinking, I go to Chelsea, I do really well for 6 months to a year, where people will say, okay, he is legit, he's the real deal. And then if he gets sacked the year after because they lose 3 games in a row, then he's able to get a Tottenham job. He's able to get
still a mid-table.
Still, instead of him staying at Brighton until they go downhill, and the next thing you know, he's not getting any of those big jobs.
No, I like him a lot, but it could be different now with Chelsea. The new owner, Up
The
until now.
owner's worse.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know if they're gonna give him more
The
time.
owner's worse.
He fired Tuchel for I don't know what
He just
happened.
didn't
but-
like Tuchel
yeah,
anymore.
and
so
just
he's
fired
out.
him. But I don't know. Maybe now it's like, all right, he's my guy. Like I brought him in. Like let's give him time and settle and like show off what he can do. What he did at Brighton is absolutely amazing. And there was a stat yesterday where there's only 2 teams in the past year or two that have like dominated possession against Manchester City, and it's been Brighton both times. That just speaks for itself. And I mean, it's not just the possession; it's like what you do with the ball. Like when you do have it, and Brighton's done amazing so far this season. When he was in charge, and they did amazing last season. And they're a small team. It's not like they have so much money as well. Like the recruitment he's done is absolutely amazing. So I'm happy that he got the job. I'm sad that he got it at Chelsea. I wish he would have went to he got the England job somehow. But
I think and I know Conte just got to Tottenham, but like Tottenham would have been a perfect fit for him, I think. And maybe.
I mean, even Arsenal would have been good if Arteta wasn't there. Like he would have, it would have been a perfect fit. This is the Arsenal way, and like the way he plays.
But it's good that he's getting these. It's good that he's getting this opportunity, because I think it paves the way for a lot of other coaches who could be in similar positions to where he was a couple of years ago. And I think nowadays a huge focus, not just nowadays, but really I would say since Barcelona in 2009 when they started taking over the game. I think before then the focus on tactics wasn't a big deal. It was like you have good players. You hear the stories from even Manchester United players who said like there was no tactics. You just went out there and you busted your balls for 90 minutes or whatever. After Pep, there's been a huge shift in tactics. Yeah. And it wasn't just Pep, but it was Klopp, it was Tuchel, it was managers like that who started saying, okay, we can figure out a way to win this game through how we actually played, instead of just having the fastest, strongest guys or just playing the old school way of doing things. So now I think that's good, because in the coaching game, maybe it creates a little bit of a problem, but everybody wants to be Pep now. Everybody wants to be Klopp, right? Everybody thinks at all levels they want to be like that. But it's good because you can see that the coaches do make a big difference. That the coaching makes a huge difference in the game. Pep made a huge difference in Barcelona when he went to Barcelona. So I think that's kind of cool, because now you're going to start seeing maybe some younger coaches, and you're already seeing it, like Nagelsmann at Bayern. Yeah, like that was also another coach that they're like, this guy doesn't have that much experience, but he's legit. He's good. I don't know what he's doing, but he's doing something. So I just hope they don't sack him after a year or after 6 months after he goes through a bad spell. Chelsea's a tough. That culture is. I mean, they don't have like the greatest culture there, but somehow they still win. And the problem is when they drop results, it's like you're sacked.
Well, you win. You come into a job, you win because all the players are hyped up, excited, like you got to impress.
The transition.
And then you win whatever cup you're going to win. Then the following season, it's like slow start. Everybody's like more complacent, I guess. And then coach gets fired, and then just
no responsibility on the players either, right?
Yeah, it's just a cycle of fire the coach, get a new one in, and then win, fire him the next year, and just how it goes. But again, I mean, it works for them. Like if you keep winning and then fire the coach. But like I was saying, like if the new owner, I think that I know he just fired Tuchel. I know it, and Tuchel wasn't his guy though. So I think bringing in his own guy, he's gonna give him a little bit more time. He's like, okay, I brought you in. This is my team. I want to bring my own coach, and I want to make my stamp on the team. Yeah. So maybe he gives him that time that he needs. And I hope he does, because I want him to succeed.
I don't know. I don't think he's trying to. Maybe he will, because, like you said, maybe he just wants to bring in his own guy and say, okay, we're gonna start fresh a little bit and hit the reset button a little bit. Chelsea's not been known to do that in the past, but really it was just because of Abramovich. Yeah. But Todd Bowley doesn't seem like he's any different, really. That guy
spends a lot of money and
spends a lot of money. And doesn't like things, and he's gonna get things the way he wants to get things. Yeah. So I think, but. I was telling my friend Eddie this, is that Chelsea is the only team that's been able to do this consistently, where they have a good season, they sack the coach for a loss of 3 games in a row or something, bring another coach, and they're still good. Mm-hmm. They come back, they're good, do the same thing, sack the coach. No consistency whatsoever, yet they're always consistently in the top 3 or 4.
So does that tell you the players just get complacent? Or what happens?
I don't know,
because you can't say he gets stagnant.
That doesn't happen anywhere else though. Like any other teams that's happened, like Manchester United ever since Sir Alex Ferguson. Been shambles. They haven't had any consistency whatsoever. Arsenal, since Arsene Wenger, finally Arteta's, but it's still only one season. Yeah. This is the first season. This is the first season where they're performing well. Who knows next season or the season after that? Tottenham's been okay, but they've never really gotten to the top. They've never really been the best. So, like, it's weird that Chelsea's the only club that can do this, have no real consistency in their managers, and still win Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues.
I mean, but again, like, is it the players then? Like, who do you blame for something like that? Because it works if a new coach comes in and you want to impress, and you can't say it becomes stagnant because after a year it becomes stagnant. Like, it's not like 1 year.
Like I said, it's hard to build a culture there because when you get the person in charge of building the culture there really is the coach, is the manager. So when you keep getting a new manager, it's hard to establish a real culture, which means the players are, like they can get complacent. They're allowed to just kind of not care as much because they know that, I think they know that if anything goes wrong, the manager's going to get sacked.
Yeah, so then they're like, oh, man, it's not on me, it's on the manager, so it is what it is at this point. Yeah. So, I mean.
Pause. What's up? Oh, nice. You can just leave it there, Mama. We're almost done. Thank you very much. But good luck to your boy, Graham Potter.
Yeah, I like him a lot, man. I'm a huge fan. Last season when Liverpool had like a bad stretch or 2 years ago, whatever it was, with the center back situation, I was like, I'm a Brighton fan. And they were in bottom of the league, but the way they play,
they're playing well. That's the thing. That they're. It's not like they're parking the bus and they're getting results and they're just grinding out results. Like they're playing they're on the front foot.
Yeah,
they're playing well.
I love it. I love watching them play.
But that's also not that it's easier because it's harder because you don't have the talent, the players who are the big names. But it's also a little bit easier because you don't have the big names. Yeah. So players are willing to work for each other and build the environment of no big egos.
Like as a team instead of like individuals.
Speaking of egos. Let's go Manchester United. Ronaldo, your boy's having a nightmare.
See, it's a weird situation because he posted on Instagram a few weeks ago, the truth will come out. So I'm sure they've had talks, and we said this like as the season was starting that if Ronaldo doesn't play, if he leaves, they wouldn't even make top 6 or whatever.
Yeah.
Now it looks like if he plays, they're not gonna. They're like they can't score a goal. But I just don't know if like the whole entire team is just like, all right, we're sick and tired of the Ronaldo's crap. Like we just want to be on our own. I think it's
getting to that point.
But my question is this: if you're the coach, and Ronaldo clearly he wanted to leave, he didn't want to be there. Why not just tell him instead of saying to the public, "Oh, I want him to stay. I want him this." Obviously, you can't just come on and say, "I don't want him," but you can just tell him, "Okay, just leave."
No, I think Ten Hag's done a fantastic job of managing this situation because he's got to play on both sides. He's got to say, like, he's not going to come in here knowing that it's Ronaldo, the biggest ego in the game. I mean, now there's Mbappe and, stuff. But Ronaldo, the guy who is one of the biggest Manchester United legends of all time. Yeah. Ten Hag did not come in and say, I'm the coach, so if you're not gonna be happy, then leave. I think that was gonna be a bad look on him because I think there would have been a lot of pushback from the fans as well to be like, no, we're on Ronaldo's side. Yeah. I think Ten Hag's done a fantastic job of saying like, I'm gonna work with him and I want him and I like him. And then Ronaldo, when Ronaldo's like, I don't want to work with you, Ten Hag's still been like, I'm still gonna work with him. There has to be consequences, but I'm still gonna work with him because now it's gotten to the point where everyone is on Ten Hag's side. Yeah. And everyone's like, okay, Ten Hag's clearly been willing to work with you and you haven't. So now you are the reason. You are the problem. So now you're out. Yeah. So I think he's handled it well. And he even said it, like after the first one, there was a warning when they left early. But it wasn't just him. It was some of the other players. And he said, now there's going to be consequences. So he didn't put him in the game for the Chelsea game. Yeah, he wasn't in the squad at all. Which worked out well because of Casemiro scoring the equalizer. Because if he wouldn't have scored that equalizer and they lose 1-0, you're always going to have people saying Ronaldo. Ronaldo posted on Instagram an apology that was not an apology.
Yeah, he just a lot of rambling
about, he's always been a professional. He's always been a professional.
Backing himself.
He never ever said, I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry. I apologize to Ten Hag. I disrespected the culture. He never said that. He just said, sometimes it's not possible to maintain your professionalism.
And that's why I think there's something going on. Like there has to be something. Like I know Ronaldo.
He's just not happy. He's not happy, and he hasn't nobody has sat down in a room with Ronaldo and said, "Look, you are an absolute legend of this game. You will always be remembered as a legend." However, you being a legend does not mean that's always going to be your current form. Your current form right now is you need to be a role player. You need to be, okay, I get the last 20 minutes of a game. Sometimes he gets less or whatever.
Yeah.
Sometimes he'll start. And I think if he would have had a better attitude from the beginning, he would have been starting all these games.
Yeah.
I just think it's his attitude that's kind of pushed him off a little bit. And Ten Hag, from a manager's culture setting perspective, he can't just start Ronaldo after all the crap that he's been doing. So for the benefit of the team, he's like, I have to slowly work him in, but I can't just start him. So again, Ten Hag's done a fantastic job. I think Ronaldo needs to understand that he either goes to the MLS, he either goes back to Portugal, or he stays at a big team, but he changes his attitude.
Yeah.
I think that's the reason why teams don't want him right now, is because of his attitude. Because I think if he says, okay, I go to a PSG or I go to a Chelsea or something like that, I will be more of a locker room figure than I will be an impact. But he's got the experience of winning Champions Leagues and doing all those things. So that's where he can be helpful. And I think he's still good enough. I think he just hasn't realized that he's not the same player that he used to be. And that's that has nothing to do with anything other than time. Time has gotten to him. Time gets to everyone. And I think time has finally gotten to Ronaldo. You disagree with this or what?
No, I mean, I agree to an extent. Okay, for example, there was a game in the beginning of the season where Ronaldo didn't start. They lost that game. He didn't play. Then there's the following game against Brian where they were down to 0, I think. And then he put Ronaldo on. They tied 2-2. They came back and tied 2-2. The following game, it was a similar outcome. They were down 1 or 2-0. Ronaldo came on, and then they tied it up. And at that point, I was like, and then there was the Liverpool game. Then Ronaldo got an injury midweek or whatever, hamstring. He wasn't part of the Liverpool game. Manchester United won. And then since then, he was never given that chance to like play or start a game or like whatever. And then the only times he played after that was like the Europa League, where like obviously that's a completely different game. So
it's not about the results though. It's not about the stats. It's the fact that Ten Hag's building a playing style that Ronaldo doesn't fit into.
Yeah, he doesn't fit into that. But you can't take away the fact that the guy didn't play 2 games in a row. Let's say 3 games. He didn't play, and then they lost. Then twice he was on the bench, came on, and they savaged the game. He helped in that regard. And then you don't give him like and then there's some games where you just don't even like play him.
Recently that's changed though.
Yeah, recently that's changed. I agree. Like Ronaldo hasn't been informed, like he hasn't been that good or all that stuff.
He hasn't helped at all.
No, he hasn't helped at all. But like in a way, I saw a report where he was supposedly told that he's gonna go on, and then he was told to go warm up. You're going on in like 5 minutes, and then he came back, and they tell him go warm up. You're gonna go in 5 minutes. Came back, same thing, and then I think that's when he didn't want to go in because he's like, how many times are you gonna do this? Yeah. So like, I mean, I think there's a lot more behind the scenes that we are not told, because there's no way Ronaldo posts that. That's like there's something behind that message.
Yeah, but either way, I think Ten Hag's done a good job, and I don't think Ten Hag would have been the guy to tell Ronaldo, hey, go warm up in 5 minutes, come back, and you're going to come on. I think he probably said, go warm up, we might need you soon. And then Ronaldo's warming up forever, and then he's like, okay, the game changes or whatever, and then he's like, I don't want to put him in. And then by the time he wants to put him in, Ronaldo's like, I don't want to go. Yeah. It doesn't matter. And I know a lot of players think it's very disrespectful for a coach to put him in like the last 2 or 3 minutes, because they know that it's not really to impact the game. It's more of just to kill time or whatever. Yeah. So a lot of players feel very disrespected. It's like, oh, you're disrespecting me as a legend for Ronaldo. You're disrespecting me as a legend by putting me on when you're not really putting me on.
Yeah.
But I think the way Ronaldo's handled this, the whole thing has been wrong.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it sucks that he's doing this at Manchester United, because if he was still at Juventus and this was happening, he would still remain the same figure to Manchester United that he was all those years ago. Now, I don't think he's tainting his image necessarily, but I think it's not going to be the fairy tale ending that he would have wanted. And that's going to be a little bit sad. Like when he retires, he's going to come back. He's always going to be a Manchester United legend. He's going to be remembered for all the things that he did before. But I think it would have been a better ending had he either not returned or just been a better sport about it. He could have just accepted the role and said, I'm going to be like Roy Kent, right? In Ted Lasso, I'm going to be like Roy Kent and just retire and be okay at the fact that at the end I wasn't starting, I was a sub, and I was only getting a couple minutes. But I think the way he's handling it, and I think it's partly just because of his competitive nature, who he is as a person, that he just doesn't want to accept that.
Yeah. But like, every player is different. Like, again, like I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but as a coach, you know that Ronaldo needs more attention than everybody else. So there needs to be.
He's been patient with him. You got to admit, he's been patient with.
I mean,
with all the crap that's
he's been patient, but like, it comes to communication. Like, sit down in a room, like go in a room and ask Ronaldo, okay, look, what is it? What is the problem? And how do we fix this? Because it's not good on Ronaldo. It's not good for Manchester United as a whole, as a team, because the more this keeps on going and going and going, it's only going to, like, let's say he's the bad apple. Isn't it spread everywhere else? People are going to get sick and tired of it. Isn't it spread through the team? You
don't think he sat down and had a conversation with him? You don't think he's had a meeting with him and told him, like, these are my expectations of you and this is what I want?
It doesn't seem like it. Like, if Ronaldo's still not on the same page, like if you tell Ronaldo, okay, look, this is what I'm going to do, Ronaldo's not going to be happy. Or, like, the player's not going to be happy, but at least you know what to expect. Like, it seems like Ronaldo has these expectations, and then Ten Hag is like on the opposite side. I think Ronaldo's
just frustrated. I think that they've had a meeting, and I think Ten Hag said, look, I want to work with you, but ultimately this is what I want for the team, and this is what I need to do.
Does he leave in January?
He has to.
Like, at this point, like, there's
Ten Hag is being nice enough until January comes, and then he's going to get rid of him. Or he's not going to get rid of him, but Ten Hag's been in those board meetings with Manchester United, with the board members, where they've said, we're going to cut our losses and we're going to let him leave for free.
Yeah,
he's been in those, or they've communicated with that, and he said, I completely approve that. That's fine with me. I think Ten Hag, out of respect for Ronaldo and his legacy at Manchester United, has not wanted to out him.
Yeah,
and say, like, you know what, you're gonna, and I know he's trained with the reserves this week or whatever, but I know he's not gonna be like an Aubameyang situation with Arsenal last year where he was like completely out of the squad. He's not gonna want to do that out of respect for Ronaldo. But I think he's gonna say, okay, look, it didn't work out, which happens. That's okay. Go leave on a free transfer and go somewhere else and finish your legacy somewhere else, and we can shake hands, and that'll be it.
I just hope he goes somewhere in January, because he's
going to.
Like, he's getting older, so you don't want to waste another year.
The problem is everyone's saying nobody wants him. He's had no interest. I mean, Ronaldo doesn't have to worry about the money. He could take a pay cut if he wants.
Yeah.
Because he's probably on a crap ton of money. But he could take a pay cut if he really wanted to go. And I'm sure Chelsea, PSG, Tottenham, all those would be interested in having conversations if they said, okay, well, we're not going to pay you as much as you want to get paid, but you don't need the money. You don't really care. You're done. And you're going to be a role player for us. Are you okay with that? I just think they don't want to deal with a headache right now. And he's not going to want to go to a Newcastle or a team like that. He's not going to want to do that either. So it's up to him what he wants to do, but he's running out of options.
I still think he can get you 15 goals a year. Like,
I think
he got it last season, like 20 goals or something like that.
I think he can. I think the problem is it needs to be like the perfect situation for him. And he needs to be the guy. He needs to be the guy. And most teams are going to not want him to be the guy because they have better players or people who are more informed, younger players or whatever. And it's going to be a disruption, I think, to the dressing room as well when things start not going his way. Yeah. I think for me, if I was in his position, I don't know if I would have returned to Manchester United.
No, I wouldn't have.
I don't know if I would have. I mean, I would have been okay going to a different team in the Premier League just to finish out and then still being able to go back to Manchester United and be looked at as what I was before. But props to him for trying it. I mean,
in a way, I don't want to say it was a failure because he did score 20 or so goals last season. It's not like...
But he also came in at the wrong time where the team wasn't... Yeah. The team hasn't been performing well. They barely just started performing well, but before it was shambles. We talked about it. It was shambles.
It was really bad.
Ten Hag.
Yeah, I mean, he's turning
doing
around.
His thing, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy because at the beginning of this podcast, every single episode started with like Ten Hag, Manchester United, shambles, and Liverpool was obviously on the good side of things because what they had been doing. And now Liverpool shambles, George.
It's not shambles.
Shambles.
Nowhere near shambles.
Shambles for Liverpool, and Manchester United's coming back. But we haven't even talked. I mean, we don't have to talk about Arsenal.
Arsenal have been flying this season. Let's be honest.
Fantastic.
Are you worried about the performance yesterday?
No. I spoke a little too soon when I texted you, and I was like, another day, another Arsenal win.
I was in a message back, and I was like, oh, yeah.
Those first 15 minutes, we were going to win the game 6-0 had we played like that.
Yeah.
there's a natural drop off.
Yeah.
You can't expect your players to be playing at 100 miles per hour that way. But we're just playing. The biggest thing is that I'm calm watching an Arsenal game.
Yeah.
Before I was never calm.
Yeah.
I was like, crap, here we go. We're gonna have a nightmare for 20 minutes. We're gonna get a goal scored on us. Now it's like, okay, relax. We're gonna probably win this game. If anything, we're gonna tie. We're gonna lose along the way, of course. And the season, there's gonna be some drop offs. But we've been playing like as if we've been playing this well for 3-4 years.
Yeah,
that's the best
the
part.
mood is different. The feel is different.
The air smells different in London right now. Listen, I'm happy. I'm happy with what they've been doing. I'm happy that Arteta, because I've been backing this guy from the beginning. I never once said I wanted Arteta out. I said I think this guy's come from a great mentor in Pep. He's got the passion for it because he's young. He's hungry. Yeah. He hasn't won a bunch of Champions Leagues. He wants to
And
so
this is
bad.
his first job.
And this is his first job.
As a main man.
Now, what's going to happen? How far are we, George, from going from Arsenal top 4 to Arsenal Premier League potentially? How far are we? How many games away are we, do you think?
I mean, obviously you guys are in contention for the Premier League.
I'm gonna do the same thing that you just said.
Okay.
7 out of 9 points.
Who do you know who you play in the next 3 games?
No, I haven't.
Because you guys are supposed to play Man City midweek. But
they got postponed.
Right?
7 out of 9 points for the next 3 games. And I think we really have a conversation that Arsenal are gonna be potentially winning.
And obviously depends on the World Cup injuries and whatnot. But
I think now at this point, I'm not saying that we've secured top 4, but I'm saying unless something crazy happens,
let's see.
Top 4 is not that big of a. Top 4 is no longer the goal, which I'm sure it was at the beginning of the season. What do we got?
I don't know, man. I mean, look, I think Arsenal made top 4. I think like we both said there's gonna be Arsenal, Spurs, Liverpool.
I said at the beginning that Arsenal might be 4th or 5th because I thought Tottenham might be ahead of them.
Yeah, I mean,
predictions change, my friend.
I said Liverpool 1st, Spurs 2nd, Man City 3rd, and Arsenal 4th. That was my prediction.
Yeah. No. 10 minutes. 10 more minutes. Give me 10 more minutes, babe. All right.
Let's see. So in the beginning, I said Liverpool 1st, Spurs 2nd, City 3rd, and Arsenal 4th. And it's still a long ways to go. But Arsenal's in 1st right now, 28 points. You're looking at 6th place with 20. So that's not a big. I mean, it's an 8-point gap, but it's not that big of a gap.
It's a big gap this early in the season. When you've only played 11 games, George, that's a huge gap.
I don't think so.
Who does Arsenal play next?
Okay.
Who are the 3 games?
I'll check right now.
If Manchester City are in those next 3 games, no, I don't think so because they postponed it until later, right?
You play Nottingham Forest at home.
Okay.
Or you have PSV Thursday.
Okay, Europa League doesn't matter.
Then Nottingham Forest at home, Chelsea away,
okay,
and Brighton at home.
Perfect.
Oh, and then you have 4 games. Somehow.
What do you mean I have 4 games? Who are the next 3 games? Is what I'm saying.
Well, then you have 4 games before the World Cup.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Maybe
okay, so 4 games before the World Cup.
Arsenal, Nottingham Forest, the first one. Then you're at Chelsea, and then you're home to Brighton, and then you're away to Wolves.
Okay.
So out of the 12 points.
12 points. If we get 9 of 12 points, 9 of 12 points, I think we're talking Arsenal have a very good chance of winning the Premier League.
Yeah.
Because something crazy is going to have to happen for us to get so far off that we won't have a chance of winning it.
But think about it. You still got to play Man City twice. I think those are going to be key. That's going to be the drop-in of points. If there's going to be drop-in of points.
Those are going to be the tells at which we know we're going to win the Premier League or not.
If you win one of those games, you guys are pretty much... Because Man City,
I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I think it's so good that we're not talking about top 4. Yeah. We're talking about now like, oh my God, Arsenal might do it. They might do it. Who knows? It's a long season. World Cup, this is going to be a crazy season because the World Cup is going to be right in the middle of it.
I still think there's still to be worried about top 4.
No.
8 points is not that big of a difference.
No.
You lose one game, now it's like 5 points.
Yeah, but you got to think all those teams are also going to drop points, and we have to drop 8 just to be competing again for the top 4. So that's the big thing. Yeah. It's not...
Well, top 6, but yeah.
Yeah, top 6, but still. Anyway, It's a
I mean, Arsenal's looking good. I mean, I can't.
Here's what's going to happen. Georgie's probably not going to be in the next podcast. We're probably going to have to take another 2-month break because Georgie is not going to want to be in front of a camera because of Liverpool and their performances.
I'm always open. Listen, I'm supporting Liverpool. I've been supporting Liverpool to the worst times. You think this is a big deal?
You have to. But you also have to admit at times when you're going through those times that you are worried.
No, I'm not worried though. I am now worried. I'm putting on the shirt.
Next week, Georgie will be worried.
It depends on what happens. By the way, I just want to say, the Liverpool Arsenal game, the 3 refereeing decisions went the Arsenal way.
We're not talking about referees today.
No,
everyone goes through the same thing.
Everyone
goes through the same things.
Did you see?
There's calls in any of those games that could have gone either way that you're not looking at those because they're against, like, they would be against Liverpool.
We haven't had a penalty in like 100 years. Did you see? Okay,
it doesn't matter.
Do you remember the handball the Gabriel did in the box?
I don't remember.
When Liverpool, yeah, a day before Man City were given handball against Brighton for the same exact thing.
Are you maybe a little bit on the unlucky side of those things? Yes. Is there a conspiracy? No.
No, I mean, I'm not saying there's a conspiracy, but I think the referee should be fired. No, I'm joking. No, I mean, the thing is, the referee that we talked about this like a few weeks ago, where we said there should be some kind of like, they should come out and say something. The FA came out after that game and said, yeah, we didn't have the camera angle for the offside of Saka potentially being offside or not. We didn't have the camera angle, so we couldn't put the lines how we usually do for the offside. It's
a bad excuse.
You can't do that.
Yeah, but you're blaming it on something else.
But I'm glad that they're coming out and like speaking in front about it because you do need that.
Referees are not the reason for Liverpool's.
No, but form. It does. It like I said, there's like hundreds of different things.
There's 4 or 5 things on the list ahead of refereeing that has been the causes for Liverpool's downfall so far.
But then when you have the refereeing as well, it's like.
Well, yeah, but that's.
But no, I'm not saying just the Liverpool. I'm saying overall, the refereeing has been pretty bad.
Referee's been pretty bad, and I think it's just a problem with the new rules that they've put into not new rules, but the new of like more contact, allow more contact.
Yeah,
which is good, but at the same time, people are so used to the old ways that now when someone gets fouled and they don't call anything, they're like, "Are you serious?"
And even when it goes to VAR,
when it goes to VAR,
they still make the wrong decision.
They still make the wrong decision.
So might as well not even have it.
The whole system has been put in place to eliminate human error, and it's created more human error.
Yeah, and
But they're not going to take it out because they're never going to admit that it was wrong. It was the wrong decision. They're going to feel like they're going backwards.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not going to talk too much about the refereeing in this podcast. Well, I think that's enough for today. We've gone quite a bit. We're gonna again just leave in the comment section down below what you guys prefer. Would you rather us do 2 or 3 episodes a week and we put them on Spotify and it's kind of audio only? We'll put them on YouTube as well, but it just be audio. Or do we just keep the video because the video is better than just having the audio? But then we go through 1 week in between each episode and sometimes 2 months in between each
and especially
episode.
Now it's so hard to do that because there's a game today.
Yeah,
there's West Ham play today.
We might have to just
and like
go back and forth. Do some episodes video, some episodes audio. We'll see.
Maybe main one would be something like this, and then like shorter. In between. But
all right, thanks for coming, Georgie. Good luck in your hibernation for the next 4 months after
7 out of 9 points, people.
All right, we'll see. Catch you guys in the next one. Thank you.